founder of the campaigning think tank Create Streets, which is about really gentle density, building communities, nice communities of gentle density. Also chair of the advisory board for the government's Office for Place. I don't know if you still got that job, actually, Nicholas. Have you, under the new government?
Good afternoon, Evan. Well, they haven't told me I don't anymore. But I should stress I'm very much speaking with my Create Streets hat on this afternoon. Otherwise I'm sure I'll get into trouble.
Right. Number one, are you in support of new towns as a way of hitting housing targets?
Yeah, absolutely. They've always been part of the way we meet our needs. As the population grows, new settlements become viable and possible. The big go back to perhaps a bit further in history than you're expecting, but the big boost of population, early Middle Ages, 12th, 13th century, that was the peak century for town creation in this country. And essentially, where the roads crossed or the bridge went through the ford, a market was declared. As I looked it up just before I came online. That's how Crawley started. King John declared a market there in the right place. So absolutely, and it's part of what we did after the war. I think it can and should be part. I stress the part of what we do now.
And where are they going to be? I haven't seen a list of them. Do we know where they're going to be under the current government plans?
If you had seen a list, I think you'd be ahead of everyone else. To the best of my knowledge, no such list exists. Maybe people are thinking one up. I can tell you where I think they should be, which is perhaps not quite the same question.
Well, where should they be?
Well, most of them should be. All of them should be in areas of high demand. There are parts of the country where there is less demand. It is foolish to put a new town there. I think most should probably be, as did many of the ones were post-war, should be urban extensions. Actually, they're not really a completely new town at all. They're just an addition to an existing place. And, perhaps the most famous, I think it's UNESCO World Heritage, recorded Edinburgh New Town, most famous new town in the UK, is indeed obviously an extension to an existing place. So areas of high demand, many, if not, I think most should be extensions to new towns. And where they aren't, they need to be where infrastructure is already there. It just takes us too long, I think, in modern Britain to create new infrastructure. Victorians, just talk to Crawley, when that Brighton main line was added to the Turnpike Road, that allowed the villages near where now Gatwick is, to grow exponentially. But it'll be a bit slower for us to do that, I think.
We heard Steve talk about cars, too many cars in some of them. Milton Keynes was famously really built to be a car city, wasn't it? Do we design these towns in a different way from other towns, very briefly?
As in, should we or have we? We certainly should. Yes, I would argue, and you perhaps won't be surprised to hear me say this, that we can make this more politically possible, and we can reduce the land take, and we can make them more prosperous if we allow towns to be towns and not just a series of roundabouts. But Milton Keynes does work, and it would be sort of churlish to say anything else, but it works because of where it is primarily rather than what it is. If we can take the density, and the average density of greenfield development in the UK a couple of years ago was 28 homes per hectare, if we could push that up to somewhere between 40 and 60, which is, just like any Victorian or early 20th century suburb, it's not tower blocks. Clearly you halve or you even more the amount of land you need, and you make it much easier to create high streets that flourish, pubs, shops, schools, being able to walk and cycle around. And that then in turn, clearly and palpably leads to healthier and better connected communities, which everyone says in their, in polling and also in pricing of where they want to live that they prefer.
All right, Nicholas Boys-Smith, thanks for kicking us off on this, the principles of how to build a new town. We'll be following it a little further over the next few weeks, as I say. But it's just coming up to 10 to 6 now. We'll have a last look at some other headlines. Here's Chris.